name is Brenda Carroll, and I'm from Crawford County, and I live in the same kind of areas that you live in, recharge areas. There's other things that I'm going to address, and I'm going to kind of talk fast because I don't want to take up y'all's time. No, I don't live in your county. Yes, I do pay state taxes. Yes, I do pay county taxes. Yes, my land and my water is very valuable and cannot be bought or sold. You ask about a line. I'm not an engineer, I'm a citizen. I ran a beauty shop for 35 years. Yes, I know all the gossips, but I don't know all the engineering. You ask about a liner. A liner for landfills, according to the EPD, and according to your engineers, is about as thick as this jug that you buy milk. Now this liner is put down, and there are state laws that says landfills have to be covered with dirt every day. You cannot go to sleep at night and leave this stuff undone. So you've got all kinds of things. Doesn't make a difference if it's inert or landfill. All kinds of items, toys, tree limbs, stuff like this. And this big earth mover rides over every night, and he covers it. Now, how many times do you think he's going to ride over this with a metal toy or a severe big trees or something like this? Or let's try batteries with acid in it or stuff like this. How long do you think he's going to ride over this for? It soon bust. That's something you can visualize. You don't have to sit down and read all these technical reports because I can't understand half of them. Secondly, I want to know who's going to pay you. Your house and your land is the most expensive item that you will ever buy in your life. It is the most important thing that you will ever have in your life. And if the state of Georgia lets these, or we pass this bill and change it, is the state of Georgia going to go and buy your property and give you your payment for your water? They can't even give us some of our taxes back. So how in Sam Hill are they going to buy your property? And if your property is damaged, it's no good nowhere. It's not even going to bring a penny an acre. It's worth nothing. You couldn't even give it away, much less sell it. So what are you going to do? And who's going to, last time I looked, water belonged to the people of the state of Georgia and to the federal government. You don't own water. If a river runs through your property, you own the bank that it runs next to, but you don't own that river. That water belongs to the federal government and the state of Georgia because they've been sued for when the Sierra Club sued to take care of the rivers and streams in the state, the federal government. You don't own it. They don't own it. So how can you contaminate something that you don't own? Secondly, when this money, people talked about this money going to, you talked about tipping fees that they are paying. Well, if you knew that everybody who puts into that landfill, when that landfill happens, everybody who puts in it is supposed to help pay for it. Mm-hmm. So if New York City or Chicago, or let's try Florida, or let's go over to Alabama, they've got to pay for it. But who says they're not going to go bankrupt, and who says they're going to pay for it? I mean, you two gentlemen know yourselves, the state of Georgia has no money, so how are you going to get blood out of the turnip? They don't work that way. There's no way. I told you about the thickness. Why would people want to pay solid waste tipping fees to put yard trimmings and inert waste in a landfill? That's an expensive item. When all counties have government-owned, city-owned, or county-owned inert landfills, they can get the permits themselves, and the people in Twiggs County and the people in Jeffersonville will own these inert landfills. The county local governments, why would you want to pay this company these tipping fees when you can do it for free? That's stupid. That don't make sense. You're giving them money that they don't really need. Also, too, you cannot put a landfill in a county that is within 2 miles of a contiguous county unless you have that contiguous county's written permit, or written, you just can't do it. If Crawford County wanted to put one in Bibb County, and it's within 2 miles of a Bibb County line, we have to have the Bibb County government's permission. That's against the law. You just can't do it. That's because you're going to be close to impinging on Bibb County's water, so they need some say-so, and that's where that comes into. And those are laws. Like I said before, when the land is no good anymore, and I'm going to show you something in a few minutes that's going to explain this. What are you going to do with this land? What is Twiggs County going to do with this land? Not recently, very recently, we had some contamination from an old grant, we call feed mill, or where it made flour stuff in Peach County, and they had to cover all that land with asphalt. So does that mean that y'all gonna cover all y'all's property with asphalt? We're gonna have a lot of libraries in Twiggs County, that'd be for sure, because that's what they put in Peach County. So what do you do with this land when it's no good anymore? How do you clean up bad water? Mr. Rehouse, when he was chairman of the EPD, told me, he says, Miss Brenda, how you clean it up? He says, you take a feather pillow, you walk outside, the wind is 50 miles an hour, you split the end of it, when all the feathers are gone, and when the wind dies down, you pick them all up. That ain't humanly possible. You can't do it. You cannot clean up aquifer water. There is no way. It's done. It's gone. And now I have 2 maps, and yes, I have used these maps quite a bit with the legislature. And I have these maps back here on the wall. You asked how much land was in a recharge area. You said about 5%. The whole green, the blue, that's how much water, that's how much land is in the recharge area for the state of Georgia. So everything that goes in here, South Georgia and Florida, drinks. And these people from Florida's got enough problems with Georgia and Alabama doing these water wars about just keeping the animals alive. And people can fish. So you stop and think. It also tells you that if you live in certain areas, and a recharge area is one of them. Now these maps came from the Geological Department in the state of Georgia, in Atlanta, up near the Floppy Floyd building. And they tell you that if you live in these areas, and here is Twiggs County, not only do you have one, but you have 2 aquifer systems. It tells you that if you live in this recharge area in Twiggs County, and you're not on county water or city water, rather than to have 1 acre for a house, a well, and a septic tank, you have to have 150% more, and that's a state law, and it tells you that down here in this information. So in other words, if you're building your house and your well and your septic tank, it would be best if you had 2.5 acres rather than 1 acre. And that goes through your planning and zoning, but that's water protection, and that's a state law. It also tells you here, this is called the Groundwater Pollution Susceptibility Map of the state of Georgia. And it's covered with areas. Green, yellow, and then you've got this, what I call a kind of a peach color or something. And it tells you that if it's green, it has a lower susceptibility. And by that, in some of these areas, now not this one here, but this area in here, you don't have to have but that 1 acre. You don't have to worry about it, because there's a good chance it's probably not going to cause any problems. Then you get to this yellow area, which is average. And it tells you, you look down in here, it goes down. This tells you there's a good probability that you might have problems. So you start better be looking and being protective and making sure that your zoning or that your businesses or your EPD or your environmental health people know that you live there, because it takes a little bit more land or it takes a little bit more protection. And then you hit the orange, the peach color, which is Twiggs County. You're sitting in both. The peach tells you high pollution susceptibility. Now, to me, high means that's a good, almost positive chance it's gonna happen. It may take a while, but it's gonna happen. More than likely, it won't happen with you, but it's gonna happen to your children and your grandchildren. It's going to happen. And it's already been proven by other areas in the state that is in this area. And if you'll notice, this area here is your recharge area. And you have to be careful. I mean, if the geological department is already telling you, watch it, you're in this critical area, that ought to be a big sign to me, a big flashing light saying, woo, 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 be careful, make it stricter. Don't lessen it, but make it stricter. Now, I'm going to leave these maps up till I get ready, but please, like I said, the state of Georgia has already had this geological department. We didn't have to pay for it. Y'all did. You people need to understand where you live and how you have to be careful. Thank you.